Namaste guys, this is Ashmita with artsandcraft.blogspot.in and I'm really excited to share some news with you. Arts and Craft is just turning 3 this month, but it has only been around, the Facebook page has been around for a year. So on the 23rd of May, it's going to turn 1 on Facebook. So in the spirit of giving, I've had so many requests for tutorials, so I wanted to do a tutorial and a giveaway marathon on my YouTube channel, blog and my Facebook page as well. So without further ado, I'm going to get started with my tutorial. And the very first project that I chose for my tutorial today is an explosion box, and I've seen a lot of them around on Facebook and on Pinterest and on YouTube, and a lot of you are into explosion boxes, and I've had several requests for them. So I thought that I'm going to start my marathon with some explosion boxes. So I'm going to just grab my scoreboard here, and I do have everything prepped and ready to go for you guys. So to make the box, I'm going to make a 3-layered one. So I'm going to give you the dimensions for each of the layers. So we're going to begin with a 12 by 12 inch piece of sheet, and we're going to start scoring it at 4 inches. And what that means is I'm going to just grab my embossing tool here, and I hope I'm in frame, and I'm just going to simply score this guy at 4 inches all the way around. So that's the outside of my box. I'm going to put this guy aside, and I'm going to grab my next layer, and this one is 11 1/4 by 11 1/4, and you're going to score it at 3 3/4. So I'm going to score it at 3 3/4 all the way around on all the 4 sides, and I'm going to rush this a little bit because this is going to be a really long tutorial, because I want to do the embellishing as well. So I'm going to put these aside, and I'm going to grab the last piece, since I'm going to be making a 3-layered explosion box. And this is my innermost piece. This is going to be 10 1/2 by 10 1/2, and you're going to score it at 3 1/2. So I'm going to put that away and start scoring on all 4 sides at 3 1/2. And now for the next step, I'm just going to put my scoreboard away for a second, and I'm going to grab my scissors. I'm going to start with my largest piece, and I'm going to just trim into my score lines all the way into the innermost square there. You're just going to get rid of all the side pieces. You're going to save these offcuts, because I use them in several of the places, and I'll show you how when I'm going to show you my finished box. And you could use a trimmer here. I like to use my scissors. I'm just doing a really shabby job, but you get the point. And this is the last one. there you go. I'm just going to put these aside for a minute and I'm going to show you this guy. So you're going to be left with something like this that looks like a plus. You're just going to go in and reinforce those scores that you made. And this here is the outside of my box. How neat is that? So that's done. Put this guy aside. And then I'm going to grab the next layer. And for this one, I'm going to be cutting just on one side. Always hold your paper and just, if you do it on your own, you need to recall that all you're going to do is going to cut from the outside to in only on one side. And let me show you how I did that. I just cut on the left of my score like that, and then you're going to flip it and you're going to do the same thing for this piece as well. And again you're going to flip it and you're going to cut in all the way to your innermost square. And the last one, that's it. I'm just going to burnish my edges here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over like so. And then I'm going to fold them in each of the edges. And this gives me some flaps. So this adds to the real estate of my explosion box. I get more room to put pictures and write and stuff. So that becomes my second layer. And let's move on to the next layer, which is the innermost one. And for this one, you're going to cut it on two sides like so. I'm going to cut it this way, and then I'm going to cut again on the same square like so. And for this side, I'm going to repeat, sorry about blanking out for a minute. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of these pieces, the diagonal pieces on the edges here. So you're going to be left with something that looks like this. And what you're going to do next is you're going to fold these two flaps onto each other like so. And what I have here is I have 4 strips that measure about 3.5 by 1 inch, and I'm just going to simply score it at 1/2 inch, like so. And put away my scoreboard, and I'm just going to burnish that score line, and I'm going to angle my hinges, and you can see I don't have a perfect 1-inch hinge, but then I really don't mind. So I'm just going to be trimming off a little bit from the bottom here, just a smidge. And then I'm going to grab some glue, and I'm going to take my hinge and I'm going to glue these together to create a pocket. So I'm just going to add some glue to my hinge here. It's easy to add your hinges to your the flap, because that way if you have any excess you can just trim it off. Just go over that hinge and burnish and add some more glue to this one, and you're going to add this on the side here. And I'm going to trim off the excess. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding some glue to the other side of my hinge. And I'm just going to bring it together. Like so. And this gives me a really neat little pocket. I'm just going to fold this in. Like so. And you're going to repeat the same thing on this flap as well and turn it into a pocket. So I won't be doing that right now. I'm going to move on to the next phase, which is the lid. So for the lid, you're going to need a piece that is 6 1/8 by 6 1/8, and you're going to score it at 1 inch. So I'm going to grab my tool and I'm going to score it all the way at 1 inch, all the way around, all the 4 sides, and I'm going to just begin to trim it on that score line and angle it a little bit. Like so. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to cut a smidge in between, like so. You're going to repeat this on all the 4 sides to all the 4 of those corners. So, I'm going to put this away for a minute. We're left with something like this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to burnish our scores. And And then I'm going to be adding glue to just these little square flaps. Like so. And I'm just going to glue them inside my the longer side, like so. Basically, I'm just creating a little lid. Just hold it for a second, let it dry a bit. Then I'm going to move on to the next side. It's going to be adding some glue to that little square flap. And I'm just going to hold my pieces in place. And that gives you a perfect little square lid. You're gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave this aside to dry for a minute. So and I think I'm going to be done doing all the scoring. Sorry for the reach, you guys. Okay. So for the innermost piece, I have a little surprise box that goes inside, and for that the measurements are 9 by 9, and you're going to score at 3 inches. And we're going to create a little box. Score it at 3 inches all the way around, and I'm going to score the lid as well. So, and for the lid of this little box, you're going to need a piece that is 5 1/8 by 5 1/8, and you're going to score it at 1 inches. And you're just going to repeat your scoring on all 4 sides, and we're done with the scoreboard for tonight. Sorry about that. So for the box, I am going to grab my ruler, my Tim Holtz ruler, and I'm going to mark my I'm going to create some markings for myself. Just going to line this up with my score line, and I know you won't be able to see it because it's all black, but I'm lining it up with my score line, and I'm just drawing marking a ½ inch line like that, and I'll repeat the same step on the other side. I'm going to just line up my the ½ inch mark of the ruler on my score line, and I'm going to just draw a guideline for myself, and that's what you end up with. I hope you can see that, and it'll turn up better once I start cutting. So when you're cutting in, you're going to cut all the way to your inner square there, and then I'm going to cut on the line that I just drew for myself, and then I'm going to just angle it all the way to the point there, like so. And you're going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. I'm going to cut on my marked line, and then I'm going to cut straight all the way to the square there, and then I'm just going to angle in like so, and the same thing on this side as well. last one. I'm going to burnish my score lines. Like so. I'm going to grab my scissors again, and I'm just going to get a little smidge off of the top of those hinges that I just created. Just a smidge. You can see the amount I chopped off. And we're going to grab the glue. I'm just going to add glue to the 1/2 inch panel there. I'm just going to put my box together. Same on the other side. It's basic construction, box construction. Really easy to follow if you have your measurements and your score lines all done. So that's one side done. I'm going to add some glue to these 2 flaps as well and just finish my box. Just going to hold it for a minute. And there you have it. You have a little 3x3 box to go inside our explosion box. And let's work on the lid. This lid is exactly the way we constructed the larger one. You're just going to cut into the score line just the tiniest bit, like so. And we're going to repeat this on all the 4 ends. Just getting rid of the tiny bit of score line on all the edges. Like so. And we're going to repeat the same thing that we did for the larger lid. Just going to burnish all my scores. And I'm going to grab my glue and put the lid together. I'm always gluing the flaps on the inside of the box so that I get a nice clean finished outside. It's just going to simply glue all of those together. And that's what this looks like. Fits perfectly. Isn't that cute? So now let's move on to the embellishing of the project, and I'll be back in a minute.